What's up, the Science of Flipping family? I am back with another incredible guest. Now, it's important because we all want motivated sellers. That is what we are in the game of. It doesn't matter if you're single family apartment storage. We want motivation and we want a seller. I have Jason here with me from motivatedsellers.com, and they are the leading industry expert on trying to find motivated sellers for us investors.
Justin, first off, thanks for having me. Excited
Yeah.
to be here. But yeah, motivated sellers, that's all we do. Motivated single family or, four and under real estate people looking to sell. We target the top 5 categories as our main thing. Everything from divorce to probate, um, pre-foreclosure, tired landlords, and health and safety issues.
Mm.
People need to move. That's what we're targeting. And it's so exciting to see how, our investors are converting, but that all we do is leads. It's mostly from the Google platform,
Yeah.
whether it's pay-per-click, YouTube, some display ads, but everything's going through our Google platform for the most part. And we bring the leads in for the investors.
So there's plenty of competition in your space, just like mine, right? As an investor, I have a lot of competition, and no difference in your space. You have other competitors that, do what you do. What separates you in general from the competition?
I'll give you a little example on this with the competitors, right? A lot of our competitors, I know them, they're good guys. I look at it as you go to a street, and if you're going out for a drink, you can go to a place where there's a lot of bars. And everybody wants to drink. There's more people who want to sell, and there's more opportunity in real estate than investors than there is. So we can't provide our investors enough leads.
Hmm.
We send out about 500 leads a day, and we're asked for probably about double that.
Hmm.
What makes us different? We use the entire Google platform. Our leads start at 150 per lead right now. We just started a national promo for leads just across the country that are $30. That'll probably go up to 50 pretty soon. But we do that. We have exceptional customer service. I'm proud to be a part of that as well.
Yeah.
I'm going to toot my own horn there a little bit, but
Nice.
we try to be super helpful for investors. Whether it's, hey, I need help with the lead. I don't, maybe it's give me a credit from a dispute policy, or, hey, I got this lead and the person's motivated. I have no idea what to do. And I'm like, hey, you know what? I have the perfect guy for short sale, for subject to, just give them a call and work the deal together, work something out. And so
So you really are like helping even your clientele. Like, I did a training last night to about 55 investors. And one of the things I talked about is being able to diversify the asset. Because if you only are a one-trick pony and do one thing with it, then you might spend $150 on a lead, and it may not work for the one trick you do, right? So let's just say you're the BRRRR investor. You buy it, you rehab it, you rent it, you refinance. And if that's your one vertical, the lead you just bought may not fit for that, right?
For sure.
It may be a better short-term rental. It may be a better novation. It may be a better just straight-up listing. But if you aren't diversified in how you're exiting, there's a lot of people out there spending a lot of money, but they don't have the skill set to diversify that.
And that's exactly it. And, for the big time investors, we have a lot of big guys. They're going to teach me way more than I can ever teach them.
Sure.
I might give them a little hint like, hey, you should organize this in Dropbox or use, talk to this guy. But by and large, they're going to teach me way more.
Yeah.
But some of the smaller guys, I can give them a lot of tips and put them in the right place. So it's just, when you talk about differentiation, we're just going out of our way to help people with
Yeah.
it.
Well, and that's a huge thing in today's world. And this is why this. So, there's a lot of companies, not just in the finding motivated seller space, right? But there's just a lot of companies that undervalue the customer service part, right? And even in the coaching space, people undervalue like really treating these individuals like they're your brother, like you're really grabbing their hand and holding their hand across the finish line. And I think that it's kudos to you guys to really put an emphasis on that. What will happen, and you know this to be true, you'll keep people longer. They will buy more from you. You don't need to have the widest audience. You don't need to have the most investors buy leads from you. You need the right investors. And if they keep buying leads, your profitability goes up.
Oh, absolutely. One of the things I said right away is we don't want a machine answering the phone.
Yeah.
We want a real person, and then you talk about longevity. I mean, I've been working with motivated sellers since 2019.
Yeah.
There's a lot of guys I know who I met when I started who are still buying with us. And then it's also cool. I'll see guys, hey, I took off for a year or two, or I changed my strategy. Now I want to get back in, or I left the company I came. So it's a lot of new people coming in, and it's a lot of the same people just year after year.
Yeah.
And it's fun because I'll go to an event and I'll see, oh, like, this guy I know, I haven't seen him in a little while, or sometimes Sarah was just at an event in Orlando. I mean, then in Phoenix, actually, your
Yeah,
neighborhood,
yeah, yeah.
and so a guy sends me a selfie of me and her. He's like, "Hey, look who I found." So it's cool that over time you start seeing a lot of the same guys and you build relationships and, "Oh, how's everything going?" And, "Oh, I had a little bit of a rough streak, but then I just bought this house. Check this out. I just sent you pictures. I can't believe like how we were able to make this deal work." And
Yeah.
it's super exciting.
This episode is brought to you by MotivatedSellers.com, America's leading pay-per-lead platform for real estate investors. Whether you're doing your first flip or your 500th deal, there's one thing you need more than anything else: motivated sellers that are exclusive to you. That's where we come in. At MotivatedSellers.com, we specialize in helping real estate investors connect with homeowners who are ready to sell fast all over the nation. Our platform is laser-focused on quality over quantity, using cutting-edge digital marketing and partnerships with the biggest tech and AI leaders to deliver exclusive leads in real time. Not shared, not recycled, not cold. No babysitting cold callers, no junk data clogging your CRM. Just motivated sellers directly in your inbox, phone, CRM, ready to make the deal. Over 2,000 active investors are already scaling their business with us, from newcomers to industry pros. Our system is simple, scalable, and built for serious closers. Ready to stop chasing and start closing? Go to motivatedsellers.com to learn more about pricing, our amazing return policy, claim your territory, and get your first leads flowing today. Motivatedsellers.com. Well, treating the people the right way will keep them with you for a very long time. What are you seeing industry wide, right? So you guys are spending a lot of money every month driving these leads in, and then you sell them off. You're a pay per lead company, correct?
Exactly.
So I want to define that for some people is you can, instead of building your own Google pay per click campaign, you can just go to motivatedsellers.com and buy the leads directly. So I find that to be incredibly useful. I buy a lot of leads each and every
Yeah,
month.
so super easy. Industry wide and with the Google thing. At the end of the day, the most important thing is lead quality, right?
Mm.
So I can be super nice to you. You could like me, but if I'm not giving you the results, it's got to be a win-win,
Yeah,
right? And win-win with the win-win-win with the seller too. So we really have to deliver, right? We spend almost $2 million a month in marketing with Google,
makes sense.
which to me is insane. I
And
always tell the investors, I'm like, we're all helping the Google stock prices,
that's right.
but Google sends reps to us every quarter.
Yeah.
They go through, they look at our numbers. We're actually pushing data back to them now of what leads are actually converting,
Mm,
because they're saying we're using a large chunk of what they can fulfill, but they can fulfill more. So they'd rather target the right stuff to help us grow.
yeah.
So we just started putting that in place. What I'm seeing is, I thought people would be selling the houses right away and a lot of motivation. But what I ended up seeing, I did a sample last week of just a couple days from last year. I said, how many of these leads are actually selling a year later?
Yeah.
What I found is 27% of the leads sell within 1 year,
Oh, wow.
which is a lot more than I thought. I think it's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
You'd think you'd have more tire kickers being that you're doing Google platform, but
Right.
27% is a lot. But what I also found is 64% of those don't sign a contract till 90 days after they filled out the lead.
That's a
And
great
that blew me
KPI.
away.
Yeah.
Blew me away, because now you have the opportunity. So you get a lead in, you're like, oh man, this person's not motivated. They want retail. Of
Right.
course they want retail, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
But then reality strikes them in the face. That hole in the roof's not going to fix itself. That kitchen, you haven't updated it for 50 years. You're not going to get the price your neighbor got.
Yeah.
So let's try and find the deal. And if the investors follow up, and I think more phone calls every so often, don't blow up their phones, but check back every month or two.
Mm.
That month, 3, 4, 5, 6, you're going to see a huge advantage.
Well, the thing that you talked about is so near and dear to my heart, which is the proper expectations based around the data, right? So for you guys to have the data that you did a couple weeks ago, this is a couple weeks old now, is 27% of the people that fill out the form sell within a 12-month period. What that says to me, as someone who buys leads but also educates people who buy leads, you need to nurture these people for a lot
Sir.
longer than you think you do. You can't make 4 or 5 calls or 10 calls and say, man, I missed out on, there's nothing here. They don't. No, you got a runway of 12 months to be nurturing this lead. And so what is the salesmanship? What is the follow-up? What is the nurture that you're doing to do that? Do you have suggestions for your clients?
Yes, I have some suggestions. I'll give you a couple more numbers though. So
Let's do it.
number one, it takes over 30 contacts on average to get a contract between text, emails, and phone calls.
30 contacts with one person
With one
or
person.
okay.
You know, a lot of it's a couple texts in the beginning, but then, you know, we're tracking all the text messages, all the emails. Some of them might be a thread, but the average is over 30 times you've talked to a person before you get a deal.
Mm.
The other thing we found, going back to the 27%, another 28% list and don't sell.
Mm.
And you think that there's opportunities in there, especially the listings
Of
that
course.
don't sell.
Yeah.
You get back to them, hey, listen, how'd the listing go? It didn't work. I understand you tried to go with a realtor. Hey, let's revisit this. And I think it talks so much about having the personal relationships. Obviously, if you're buying a lot of leads, you can't have a, you know, real tight relationship with people, but having a system, maybe follow-up Fridays. I used to say in one of my old companies.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't want you guys doing new work on Fridays. Just follow up with your people. Hey, how's everything going? Make a few phone calls. Casual. How's everything? If they need your help, they do. If not, you're checking in on them.
That's right.
You know, one of our clients, this guy named Luis, he used to send out Christmas cards and New Year's cards to everybody,
Yeah.
birthday cards to
Yeah.
people. Anybody could find their birthday,
Yeah.
he'd send them a birthday message.
That's great.
He can get a lot of deals from that, but he could probably get about 1 or 2 a year.
But you already spent the money.
That's it.
So
That's
so why
exactly
not
it.
just go get the 1 or 2 a year and bring it to the bottom line? That's
That's
what
right.
people don't understand that I'm very aware of, but I want people to understand what you and I are saying. If you already spent the money on the lead, treat the lead the right way. So like the way I do my books is I close my quarters out. So every quarter comes, my bookkeeper closes that out. Whatever money I spent, whatever revenue was made, the quarter is closed. Now, I might have bought a lead in January that I don't close until November. So it is bottom line free money for Q4 that because Q1 was already booked. It's already closed. I spent 100 grand in Q1. I made 250 grand. That's closed. But a lead from that spend closes in November. That is a free income. That is free money because the book is already closed there. But if you treat it right, then you can actually close that. Like the 1 or 2 deals from the thank you card, the birthday card, the Christmas card is basically free money because it's so far down the path. The money is already spent. It's already booked if you're doing your P&L correctly, right? Like, okay, well, go get one. It's literally bottom line money to boost up your P&L.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you're so right on that. And, you know, I'd use a very small sample size. Let's just clear that out. I wasn't going through, you know, a year's worth of data.
Sure.
This was me and Elizabeth going through PropStream, going through Zillow, and just doing our own research. You know, so we're trying to do it quickly. But
No, wait, 27%. 27% of the people that come to you at Motivated Sellers are going to sell within 12 months.
from the data,
60% of the 20% did what?
didn't sign a contract till after 90 days after.
90 days after. Got it.
And from 90 days to 160, it was about 20 something. You know, from 6 months to 9 months, again 20 something, and then it trailed off a little bit at the end.
So that first 90 days really is predominantly like that's where you got to run as fast and as hard as you can to try to get that 60% curvature. And then you'll still get them over
40 some odd percent.
Yep.
The first 30 days, first 90 days, only about a third of the leads go under contract.
Oh, I thought you
Of the ones
said.
that were deal. Those 64 is all from the follow up.
Oh, wow.
Which
okay.
I thought it'd be.
After
I
90
thought it was a curve that's going down this way,
It's actually going up.
but it
after
actually
90 days.
kind of like curves up, and it curves up and it's even, but 2/3 of it is after 90 days.
That is incredible.
And I never knew that before. I wasn't expecting that, and you know, but I figured, how are we going to figure out how lead quality is? And when I called investors, I'm like, "Oh, how's the lead quality? Oh, I didn't get any deals." And I'm asking, "How's your last 10 deals? Your 10 leads you got?" And now I'm thinking to myself, "Oh, that's okay. There's deals in those. You just got to do the follow up."
But you need to talk to them 30 times.
You need to contact them, but some of it's just text back and forth. Some of it's follow up. Some of it's just
So just so I'm clear, because I think there's some miscommunication in our industry, not between you and I. Like, contact is when you reply to my reach out. Whether I call you and you answer, I call you, you call me back. There's some level of exchange because to me, outreach is outreach. So if you have 30 attempts to reach the person,
That's what I'm talking about. There's we sent out or the investor sent out. So I would go through the CRM and I'd be counting. This is what I
how many times do you outreach to Jason to find Jason?
Exactly.
Talk to, okay.
But for example, if I go, "Hey Jay, how are you?" And then you go, "Oh, I'm good." I go, "Oh, good to hear. What's going on?" That I would count each time I send a message in that
Yep.
numbers.
Okay. Okay.
So,
Now
but it
I
could
call
also
that a
be this,
contact. So the initial time that you either respond to me
right?
or answer my phone or whatever, now I have a contact. Now you're just saying there still needs to be 29 more back and forths.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, I get it.
I'm saying that's what we're seeing on average.
Yeah.
Some of them, it's one call. Hey, I'll be in the
Of
neighborhood
course.
later, and I'm going.
Yeah.
Other ones are, you have your follow-up emails that are going out every month. You got a text message chain back and forth. You do an appointment, you call them back 3 months later, you do another appointment. So all of it's going to be different. Depends on the seller and what they need. But
No, of course.
on average, we're seeing over 30 contacts get those contracts.
So this is
30
important
touches.
because how do you make your client be better? Help them understand the numbers. Help them understand the expectation of what happens when motivated sellers give you leads. Well, you're buying them, they're not giving them to you, but you buy the lead from motivated sellers. Don't have improper expectations. Oh, I bought 10 leads, I got nothing. This doesn't work. Absolutely not. How many times did you call them? How many actual contacts did you make? How many back and forth exchanges? How many offers did you make? Like, there's so much more that goes into it than just the lead.
Oh, no doubt about it.
And unfortunately, the lead providers like yourself in your industry, unfortunately, you end up getting the blame. Oh, these aren't good leads and they're not motivated sellers. No, they're not motivated this second. Fair. They want retail price. I got it. But again, nurture that sequence. We're in a time in event business. So like you just said, you have a client that sends out Christmas cards. It's an event. There's something happening that could trigger, hey, this guy's been reaching out to me all year long. I have, Christmas, I just lost my job, this, that, and the other. I need to bring back some money. I'm going to sell my home. Well, that postcard triggered the event that happened to the seller.
That's exactly it. We just once you get the data and you have your systems, it changes everything. And
Yeah.
what we see is a lot of the investors who go on the appointments do really well.
Yeah.
But
Man, person to person.
person to person.
Yep.
But we have so many guys who do virtual, in other markets. They also do well. But when you start getting the virtual, when you start getting into the to the larger companies, it's all the systems, it's all the follow-ups, and that's what makes them successful. Is they want to talk to a person originally, and then they just want to go through and follow up their sequence, and everybody's trying to get the deals faster. You spending the money on your ads, you want a quick return. But if you can convert a few later on, it changes everything.
Everything. As many of you know, I'm constantly on the move, juggling multiple businesses, traveling, and ensuring I get my morning workouts in. Staying fresh isn't just a preference, it's a necessity. But let's face it, after back-to-back meetings, juggling 2 kids at home, and the hustle and bustle of everyday life, body odor can become an issue. But here's the deal. Mando has revolutionized how I stay fresh. This isn't just another deodorant, it's clinically proven to control odor better than a shower alone with soap. My favorite scent, bourbon leather, it's fresh, is subtle, and doesn't clash with my cologne. And I was surprised by how well the solid stick works, even after an intense morning workout. Mando Starter Pack is perfect for the new customer. It comes with a solid stick deodorant, cream tube deodorant, 2 free products of your choice, like a mini body wash or a deodorant wipe, and free shipping. As a special offer for listeners and new customers, you get $5 off a starter pack with our exclusive code. That equates to over 40% of your starter pack. Use code Colby at shopmando.com. That is shopmando.com. Please support our show and tell them we sent you. Smell fresher, stay drier, and boost your confidence from the head to the toe with Mando. I can't tell you how many times, the most I've ever been in front of my skis. When I say in front of my skis, I've spent money on marketing and the money hasn't come back yet.
Okay.
So the most I've ever done that is about $250,000.
Wow.
I was like, oh my God. But every time, I'll tell you, every time, if you're listening, it always comes back over time. Where people get crushed is when they get in front of their skis. It could be 25 grand, it could be 100 grand, or even in my case was $250,000. And they stop marketing and they stop working the leads. And that combination is deadly. That's where people lose a lot of money, is because the leads are already in your database. And if you give up on working those leads, we do deals all the time that the lead is 6 months old, the lead is 12 months old, the lead is 2 years old, and we'll close them because we have a nurture sequence. And again, that money has already been spent. So go get the money back, right? Cover your cost. And so I would encourage everybody to realize, like, A, be aware of your financial situation, but also, you need to understand the KPIs that Jason's talking about of how are you going to go get those deals? How are you going to be able to monetize and get your money back? Because unfortunately, people stop spending money and they kind of get frustrated and quit, and that's where they're going to lose money.
Absolutely. I'll tell you something too, though. Let's not discount those. A lot of people do put it in for an urgent need,
Yeah.
right? And for those, you want to get on those right away. So we talk about the nurture sequence. It's obviously super important. The other thing is speed to lead. So if you're getting a lead in, you should be calling. You're eating dinner, excuse yourself, make the initial phone call.
Absolutely.
You're in the car, pull over to the side of the road, don't kill anybody, make that phone call.
That's right.
You
I
know?
tell my team, like, I don't care about weekends. Like, not in our space of real estate. I think there's a lot of people who like, oh, I own a business to have more time.
Yeah.
I got to shoot all you guys straight. Owning a business actually goes the other way for a long period of time, is you actually have less time. And because, like, I was talking to my general manager the other day, is some leads came in rather late at night my time. Now I'm East Coast and he's in Arizona still. So I literally saw the leads come in and I called him and I said, you need to go get these. Not for any other reason, but I knew he would do it. Right? Because it was what, 9 o'clock my time, so it was 7 o'clock in Arizona, or maybe it was 6 o'clock.
6 or 7, depending on the.
But my rest of my team would have been like, I mean, it's 6 o'clock, right? Like I'm done for the day. And I'm like, fuck, no, you're not. Like, I just spent money on that lead.
Yeah.
Go get that lead.
I'll tell you something funny. Josh and Tiffany say that a lot of the leads that they see close were from the nighttime. I didn't track any data on that,
100%.
but think about it. If it's keeping a person up at night, if they're worried about it. Now, I'm not saying call somebody at 2 a.m. if they do that, but maybe a text if they fill out a form.
Yeah.
But be on top of it. Let them know you care. Hey, let's chat tomorrow. You want to talk now? I can. Most of it doesn't come in at that time.
Yeah.
It's more normal, normal hours. But if
Yeah.
somebody's doing it late at night, give them a call. They obviously have a concern. That's why they're filling it out.
There's no doubt. And the weekend's the same. I think there's a lot of, and I don't have my phone on me, but I think there's a lot of people that need to get those notifications on their phone. Because as the business owner, and your clientele is made up of what? Is it kind of a mesh of like real businesses that have acquisition teams and the solopreneur who's doing it themselves?
So we have a very wide spectrum. We have,
Yeah.
big time acquisition companies, a couple funds, and then we have, one man shops where I'm telling the guy, hey man, you need a VA.
Yeah.
You got to be talking to people.
For
You're,
sure.
you're a great person, but stop doing paperwork.
Yeah. Well, but I would tell that same person is you better be 7 days a week, 24/7, because your lead comes in on Saturday at, 2 p.m. in the afternoon when they're out with their family, like you said about dinner. Hey, excuse me, guys, let me just make this call real quick. Because you spent money on that lead, and that lead, speed to lead, you just said it. Like, there is no like, oh, it's my daughter's birthday, I'm going to just not. Like, to me, these are some of the sacrifices of being a solopreneur, a one-man shop. Until you have leverage, like, you need to get on that lead. Like, what's your average cost per lead?
So our average cost for lead is about 175.
And people, by the way,
Our minimum now is 150. But I'll tell you one more part about that. You can turn off the system anytime you want. So if it's your daughter's birthday,
you can stop the lead.
you can just put pause for a couple hours. I have a guy in California who always turns off when he's in traffic. I'm
Yeah.
thinking it's the best time to call, but probably better he's not talking on the phone. But you can turn it on and off whenever you want. You have full control of that.
Yeah.
So I
You
think
just toggle it off.
yeah, I just had my daughter's birthday, and if I was on the phone there, I would have got a lot.
I agree. Listen,
Not only from the
you want to
kids,
stay married.
parents too.
Mhm.
Yeah. So you could turn it off, turn it back on. But if you're on and you get that lead, like you're saying, you just got to get on that.
But here's where I'm kind of a psycho, because most people are going to do what you're suggesting. They're going to turn it off. Oh, it's Saturday. I have a family day. And I say that because to some extent you're right. Like, we all do this so we can have more time with our wife and our children. So yes, you should be present, right? But the reality is, if half of the community is pausing it and you didn't, you're likely getting cheaper leads, better leads, and you're going to be
Sure.
first to the lead because Jason paused his, I got the lead, now I call him right away. You might end up being able to find that lead somewhere else or whatever, but I'm first to that lead, and if I'm good at my job, I'm going to get the deal, right? And so
Absolutely.
I'm just a little bit more of the psycho. Is like, dude, this is a 7-day-a-week business. And until you're at a point of leverage, which I love the idea of at least having a there's companies, I haven't used them in a long time. What are some of the like Ruby something, Call Ruby? They're just answering companies.
Okay.
So if
No,
someone
well,
comes
you don't
in,
want to do that with these leads.
right, and so I
What
just
you're saying is right. Once you get to the second part, once you start building your company, you have a second person who can do the calls.
yeah,
Think of it like doctorships, right? You're not going to get 50 leads from us a day,
I love it.
right? If you think about a county, right? So we're in Miami here. We might get 1 or 2 or 3 leads a day max, and that's going to all the investors.
Yep.
Maybe it's a few more if it's a busy day or whatever, but you're not getting that many. So when they come in, you got to treat them like gold,
Yeah.
right?
And that's why I'm saying what I'm saying is, me and my wife have a pretty solid understanding. I'm not necessarily in that game of like dealing with the seller leads, but I have multiple businesses that run at a pretty high level. And when I have to take a call, I try not to, but if I have to take a call, I have to take a
You have
call.
to,
Like it is what it is, right?
Listen, do you like this life? The real estate lifestyle to me is so my background is a CPA.
Okay.
And what I saw is the people who had wealth longer than just they were, you have your doctors, you have your business owners, you have your whatever talents, NBA player. But the people who had wealth long term and the kids and after something happened, I had a magazine executive, for example, what the way the dinosaurs, the magazines, I feel like. But she owned real estate in New York City.
Mm-hmm.
So she was fine. All of a sudden, she's not making the same living, but she's okay if
Yeah.
as opposed to it. So real estate gives you that lifestyle. It's not a quick thing,
Yeah.
but it gives you that easier lifestyle, more time to be with the family. But that being said, when you have to take a call, you have to do it.
And you guys are great because of a lot of different things, but giving some flexibility on when leads come in is a really big highlight, right? Because sometimes you don't have a choice. Now, there's competition that you guys have that you could just buy a lead outright right then and right there, and that's fine. But like, I just like the ability to just have leads flowing. Do you guys agree, giving all the data you guys have, I take a wider range shot. And what I mean by that is I'll give you an analogy. I believe instead of being very specific in one corner of the hemisphere, like only focusing on deals that are pre-foreclosure, doing direct mail, hitting pre-foreclosure only, it's very tight, very raw. You can have big rips. You might be able to make a couple $1 million a year doing that. My philosophy is I want wide. I want the whole Miami-Dade County lead opportunity for the whole damn county, and I want as many leads as possible because my belief is so if I gave you 5 basketballs right under the basket and I have 100 basketballs at half court, who has a better chance of making 6 shots?
Obviously, you.
Because you can't even make 6.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? And that's my philosophy is like, fine, I am much further away. I understand that. But I have 100 shots on goal. I'm going to bet I can make 6 before you, right?
For sure.
And do you have any data kind of supporting like the more lead flow, the better off you're going to be?
I don't have any data like that. I haven't tracked it. But I do believe in lead flow. Some people say, listen, let me own my market, right? Others are like, hey, listen, I'll take any market in the Sun Belt or any market in upstate New York or Northern California, or, take 92 cities that have or counties that have a population over, I think there's 100 or 200,000, and they'll do anything in there because there's enough demand.
Yeah.
So I like the wider thing. For me, we do a bidding system, so some leads can get expensive. San Diego gets expensive from time to time. But for me, I'd rather spread it out, get leads at 150 and have, like you said, more shots,
That's
right? And then to further on that, you want to have more ways to do a deal. So if you're just doing a wholesale, everybody with no equity you can't work with anymore, right? If you're just doing subject to, you're not going to be able to do all the deals. We have a lot of guys in Texas who do subject to. They love our leads, but it doesn't work if that's all they're doing. If they can wholesale a few, if they can buy a few and flip them, now all of a sudden the numbers just back out so much better. They're getting those 3-4x returns.
That's right.
As opposed to creating a note and just breaking even.
Yeah.
People who want a higher number, novations, it's phenomenal doing those because now all of a sudden you can get them a higher number and still make a fee and everybody's happy.
Yeah.
So the more flexibility you have and the more things you can do in the wider range, the more success you're gonna have to be. And listen, it takes more training. You have to learn more, right? You need a good coach. You need a good mentor. You need to read. A little bit of YouTube University probably doesn't help.
Sure.
But if you're willing to expand and improve yourself, the opportunities are there. And this is not that hard.
Well, this is where I tell people like your type of clientele's on the newer side, right? So I built a community called reilive.co. We talked about it a little bit earlier. The whole point of that community is I'm not charging 10 grand. I'm charging $200 so I can help your clients actually convert the leads, right? So then they're buying leads from you and I'm helping them convert them because I'll actually comp the properties, call the homeowners, and they'll watch me do it versus me just saying, oh, here's what you should say. Here's your script. Go do it,
I
right?
love it.
And the whole point being is I think there's a disconnect right now, specifically on the newer side, right? Your clients who are, the Tiffany and Jot, like they're dialed in, they have operations. There's plenty of clients you have like that. But the people who are out there buying leads and spending money, I've been a coach for over a decade. You said the reason why this comes up is you talked about someone should get a coach. Everyone should, but you don't have to pay $10, $15, $20,000 for a coach. There are communities like reilive.co that I'm happy to help you work the leads you're getting from motivatedsellers.com. Like buy it from Jason. Go to motivatedsellers.com right now, buy leads, and then I'll help you work it until you have the confidence enough to just like go,
Yeah,
right?
to me, that's like amazing mentorship, right? You've been there, you've done that. They're gonna learn from doing. To me, like no good deal like goes unfunded. Maybe that's not true, but maybe it's no great deal. But when you have coaches, when you have people in your corner, when you have mentors, right? And whether it's $200 or 10, doesn't matter how much they're spending on it. When they have people who've been there and done that, it's just another fresh set of eyes. And then plus they're learning from you. So, I've learned real estate from a lot of people,
Mhm.
right? Every single person, there's a lot of things I disagree with, but every single person I'm extremely grateful for
Sure.
because I've learned so much. And then when I talk to investors, I'm like, hey, you should do this or talk to this guy. Now all of a sudden it's coming full circle because I'm
Yeah.
able to pay it forward.
Yeah.
And that lead that they spend money on that they're not happy with, all of a sudden, hey, this is an opportunity for you. This isn't just a waste of money. And now that seller's like, oh man, you solved my problem. So the whole idea is that just everybody's going to win from it.
Everyone, and you bring up the point that we've talked about, but like if you understand how to be dynamic and how you exit the potential of the property, a lot of people do, I use it in a very specific language. You got to look at the potential of the property. If you understand the potential of the property, then you understand whether you're going to novate it, whether it's a wholesale deal, fix and flip, long-term rental, short-term rental, right? Or you do house hack, right? Is a house pad split. Like there's so many different diverse ways to find the potential. And so pigeonholing yourself to do some Mayo formula like 60% of ARV minus wholesale fee minus rehab, you're just going to convert. Like if you say 1 out of every 30 is what you're seeing on average or whatever it is,
We see about 1 out of 15 leads will come to a deal.
right? So the person who's a one trick pony
But
will be like 1 out of every 30.
yeah, so but that's not it's not full in everything because if you look at your Burr guys, I was just talking to one of the guys yesterday. I'm like, listen, you're not going to get 1 out of 15. Like I'll tell you, you're not going to do that good. And he's like, all right, let's work some numbers. And we ended up saying, let's be conservative. Is 1 out of 40 we just figured out. It would
For
cost
the
them
Burr model.
to get a deal,
Yeah.
and it would cost them $6,000 for the deal. And we started looking at it. We're like, wow, wait, how much equity did you get out of that? Oh, you got seller financing for it
Right.
too. Oh, you have cash flow for it. So that might take you a little bit of time to recoup your money in terms of cash flow. But his whole thing is building wealth and having rentals long term. And I'm like, you're not going
When
to
it's
buy
the
that
part
at MLS.
acquisition. Think about what you just said. It's $6,000 to get his deal. So 40 leads, 1 Burr. Let's just say he buys it for 100 grand. I'm making it up. So say, look, I'm buying it for 106 grand.
Yeah.
It's a part of your
That's
acquisition cost,
exactly right.
right? So your remodel, because buy rehab it. So your rehab is 50 grand. Fine. Put the 6 grand on the rehab budget. So you have a $56,000 rehab budget. Like the point being is it's a cost to the deal. We all have costs, whether it's rentals, fix and flips, wholesales. So you just got to figure out how to attribute the cost.
That's it.
And if people understand how to attribute the cost, your background's being an accountant, it's not that hard. I can underwrite a deal and say, okay, for every 6 grand I spend, I'm buying a rental. It now is like, how fast can I spend 6 grand?
That's
Because it's not very expensive.
and you look and you compare like the MLS. Listen, realtors are super important. Help me get into my house with my wife and my kids.
Sure.
They screw up a lot of deals.
Sure.
And it annoys the seller and the buyer because you have more people in the way, right? You want to have it kind of shake out a deal, figure it out, and here you're talking directly. Hey, what do you really need? What do you really want? Realtors pitch is, hey, I'm going to sell it for the most money, the fastest.
Yep.
But is that always what the client needs? Do they want to wait for the listing, the pictures, and all that? Here you're talking directly. Hey, do you really need the most money, or do you need a way out of your situation?
Yeah.
Do you need? Okay, you want to get the most money, but do you need it right away? Well, no, I just need to live off of it. So maybe I can give you more over time. And when you're talking directly to a person, you just get rid of that whole telephone game of mixed messages and everything.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's really important. I mean, motivatedsellers.com, by the way, again, it's motivatedsellers.com. But finding the ability to nurture the contact is huge. Talk to us a little bit about what you guys are finding with the best sales guys in the space, right? If you're able to get the lead and then you're also good at the negotiation part, the numbers I'm assuming are going down.
Uh, Here's what I'll tell you: the best sales guys. The best sales guys are not the best sales guys,
Mm.
right? And I don't know if I'm contradicting myself, but I was just at the car dealership a few months ago, and those are true sales guys.
Through and through, those guys sell.
If I had a car dealership, I'd just go in there and hire everybody.
Yeah.
They're phenomenal. In our space, it's different. Be a problem solver. Be empathetic. Understand the person. I'm very big on 7 Habits with Stephen Covey, right? Seek to understand, then be understood, right?
Mhm.
So if you're understanding a person, the numbers will work themselves out. The deal will either work or it won't.
Yep.
Right? You do the best you can. They're going to try to do the best you can. You can work out a deal if there's a deal to be made.
That's right.
But if you understand a person, and this is what we're seeing with investors, is you understand the person, you understand what they want, then you negotiate. You can figure something out. But to me, the ones who are the most successful are the ones who take to understand the client's situation.
That's right. Yeah. Um, is there anything that you feel like listeners, viewers should really understand about motivatedsellers.com? I just believe, we need to find more opportunities. And motivatedsellers.com is a great place for us as investors to find those
So
opportunities.
there's 2 ways to this. I give 2 messages here. About a quarter, we have 1,800 active investors. A quarter of them are those big guys, right? But the other 75% are 5 or less people,
Mm.
and a lot of them are 1 and 2 man shops, or a guy who's doing it after work, right? If you're new in the industry, we just started the nationwide leads. Use those as practice. It's $30 now. It's gonna go up. Take advantage of that. Um, get some practice. Hey, Justin, help me underwrite this deal in 1,000 miles away from me.
Right, right.
But now all of a sudden you're practicing, you're learning the industry, you're learning the numbers for a lot less cost.
Yep.
Right? If you're in an area and you want to get leads, set a monthly budget. Maybe it's 1,000, maybe it's 5,000, maybe it's 12, whatever it is. Go and try and see a bunch of leads.
Mhm.
If you're one of the bigger guys, dude, buy into us for a couple of months.
Yeah.
Right? Go in and put an effort in. Right?
And what do you tell people about like how long should they test you guys out, right? I mean, I have my answer. But because I hate when people go to motivatedsellers.com, they buy some leads for a month. Oh, I didn't really get much or whatever. Not really. That's not a runway. You got to give yourself a runway of really trying a marketing channel.
So last year I saw there was 200 investors who bought 1 lead. And it drove me crazy.
Yeah.
We had, 2,000 something, I don't remember the number, bought leads from us. But 200, so 10% bought 1 lead. I'm like, dude, don't waste your money on that.
Yeah.
I'm sure maybe 1 or 2 of them got a deal, and
Maybe.
but
But they would come back if they did.
yeah, I don't know. But the ones that are buying a lot, it works. I'd say, to me, I would say buy 30 leads. That would be my number. And see where
So
the numbers
give
shake
yourself
out.
a budget of 30 leads
30
and
leads.
you're averaging $150 a lead on average, right?
Right. $4,500.
Then I think that's a fair runway. And the reason why I say that is because I believe if you're going to do a marketing strategy at a bare minimum, you got to run for 90 days, right? Continually spend into it, continually bring in leads, and focus on your nurture and follow up.
I
Because
bet on your 90 days, if people can stick out 90 days, even if they're at the minimum, because leads can be more than 150, but if they go 90 days, way more than not, and this is my bet, would be really happy with it. Now, they might not go full-time with a huge budget, but they're going to be like, hey, I want these leads. I'm
Yeah.
talking to people, I'm getting
Yeah.
deals.
Well, and because at the end of the day, if you did it seriously, you're going to have real lead flow every day, every week, every month. And then it's just a matter of conversion. Are you able to convert the deal and convert the list or lead? And that's why I tell the people, like, when we go into any new marketing channel, so probably the newest I'm aware that we've tried was TV.
Okay.
So I've never done TV. This year we did TV. Or end of last year we did. So Q4 of last year we started TV. Okay. So I was like, dude, everyone, people are doing it. They're finding success. Let's try TV out. I've done everything: PPL, PPC, direct mail, cold calling floors. I've done it all. I've never done TV. So I tried that. That's the most recent marketing strategy. I said, if I can go 90 days and or up to 6 months and break even, it's a keeper. The reason being is because then I know over a longer runway, all those leads will turn into profitability, right? Now, not everyone has the luxury of, I'm 20 years in this business, right? And so I have a team, I have people, like I'm different than a lot of people. But how I look at it is similar to how I believe most people should. Go do motivatedsellers.com for 90 days. If you break even from profitability point, keep going, because now you still have a database of leads that you can continue to work while also bringing in new leads. That's where the profitability comes, because you're bringing in the old leads that convert and still breaking even on the new leads. Over time, you look back at the end of your year, you will be up at a minimum of 3x because there's 4 quarters. So if you break even on quarter 1 and profitable for 3 quarters, you're going to be at a 3x almost every time, I guarantee it. Challenges: getting them to go for 90 days.
That's it. And I'll tell you, I want to see people making money in the first 90 days.
That's it.
I want more gravy after the first 90, but in that first month, I want to see some deals.
Get
I
some
gotta
deals,
I
get
gotta
some
tell
checks.
you, I'm
That's right.
you know, I
But it's okay. To me, I would say, I would make the argument, make money. It doesn't have to be profitable, right? If you spend 3 grand, you don't need to make 9. Like if you did a deal and you collected a check and it proved system and builds confidence, then you got to
for
keep
sure.
going. It
For sure.
works. So just get more efficient and better at it and keep going back to motivatedsellers.com.
Definitely, definitely.
Dude, I appreciate you being here.
Thank you so much for having me. If anybody wants to reach out, I'm Jason at motivatedsellers.com.
Yeah.
Happy to talk to everybody, and it's so much fun, this industry, and I appreciate being here.
Of course. Links are going to be all below here on YouTube. You'll see all the links. Go to motivatedsellers.com. This is Jason. I'm Justin. If this was cool or you think someone needs to go check out motivatedsellers.com, share it with at least 2 of your friends. We'll see you on the next episode.